Okay, welcome back. This demo is related to the foghorn and dog whistle demo that I did, but I'm going to go a little bit more into detail. This is standing waves in tubes, and in physics we learned that if a tube has one open end and one closed end, then the fundamental frequencies created in that tube is F sub n is NV over 4L, but you're missing the odd numbered harmonics. So you're missing the even numbered harmonics. So you only have odd numbered harmonics. N is 1, 3, 5, 7. And if the tube is open at both ends and closed at both ends, then the equation is the same. You have all harmonics available to you. N is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see that the equation is NV over 2L. When you produce a sound in a tube, primarily you will hear the fundamental frequency, right? Although it produces all the other overtones, the fundamental frequency is the primary one that you hear. So when I make this sound now, you will hear a fundamental frequency, N is 1, NV over 4L, and then you will hear the fundamental frequency of this, NV over 2L, where N is equal to 1, right? So this is the fundamental frequency that we are hearing, N is 1. Okay? So all other things being equal, if you have a tube that is the same length, but one tube is open at both ends and one tube is open and closed, the frequency produced by this should be half of the frequency produced by that, right? This is V over 2L and this is V over 4L. So we can take tubes here and then just basically blow into them and then see what sound it produces. You can tell that this is lower frequency. Okay, so this one is producing lower frequency. If we measure the length of these, this has a length of about 42 centimeters, right? So it's also open at both ends. So 42 centimeters, the frequency that it is producing, V over 242, and approximately the velocity of sound in air at about room temperature is about 343 meters per second. And you do 2 times 0.42. That's the frequency that is produced when I blow into this. Okay. Now this one is shorter. Okay. It's going to be 19 centimeters. Okay, 19 centimeters. So then you're going to do 343 over 2 times 0.19 hertz. 902.6 hertz, so it produces a frequency that is more than twice the other one, right? Now this one, okay, this one is even shorter than the other one, and that's 15 centimeters. Okay, but it is also metal, so the quality and tone of the sound that you hear will be different because the sound waves are hitting a different material versus this one. Okay. The frequency that you hear is dependent only on the velocity of the sound and the length of the tube. But the tone of the sound, okay, and the timbre of the sound, the quality of the sound depends on also the material. Because the sound waves sometimes get reflected better from a certain material and get absorbed into the other material. So you hear a different quality of the sound and different timbre of the sound, right? So this is going to be higher frequency. So that one's going to be 15 centimeters, 1143 hertz. So it's going to be even higher frequency than this one, right? We can hear that again. So it is a bit higher frequency, you can tell. Okay. Now I also have a tube here closed at both ends. This one you really can't produce a sound by blowing into it. You can kind of knock on it, right? Or you can basically open it and illustrate the concept of open at one end, close at the other end. Right now, this one is length is going to be about 25 centimeters, right? 25 centimeters. And if it's open at one end and closed at the other end, then what's the fundamental frequency we're going to hear? it's going to be V over 4L, so 343 over, and then we said that the length was 25 centimeters, 0.25. So 4 times 0.25 is just going to be 1, so that's going to be 343 hertz, right? So it should actually be lower frequency than this one. You can tell this one is a longer, right? And it should have been lower frequency, right? Usually longer is lower frequency than shorter. But this one you can tell is actually higher frequency. It's lower frequency, right? Lower frequency, why? Because of the 4. You see? So the equation is actually working. It's producing a lower frequency than this one, which was longer, which was supposed to, the longer usually produces the lower frequency, right? But this is actually lower frequency because it has a 4 here. Now, if I unscrew this, what will happen? The frequency will approximately double. The frequency doubles, but it's 1 octave higher, right? It's the same note. So if I open it, basically it's the same length tube, and so now it's just going to be V over 2L, so it's going to be 686 hertz, right? 686 hertz. Let's hear that again. You should be able to hear that it is about the same note, right? Same note, but it is 1 octave higher. This one is the lower note. I feel like a flute player here. Okay, pretty much the same note. 1 octave higher, twice the frequency, just by opening the cap right there. So you can kind of see here, this is a good demonstration showing the difference between open at both ends, open and closed, the dependence on the frequency on the length of the tube, right? And also the difference that opening and closing will make. We saw that by just closing it, we reduce the frequency by half, right? And then these two notes are actually the same note, but 1 octave separated by 1 octave, okay? Thank you very much.